I'm Richard Porter.
I'm Johnny Smith.
And this is Smith and Sniff, a podcast in which two friends actually manage to talk about cars for once. Well, it's all excitement here, I tell you, because I've just ordered some new number plates for my car.
Oh, I actually do like the new number plate thing. Pressed metal, I'm wondering.
I've not gone pressed metal. This is for the Range Rover. I'm not sure it would suit it. I've just got what I want.
Add unnecessary weight.
Yeah, yeah. And you don't want to do that with a superleggera machine like a Mark III Range Rover.
It's not a superleggera. It's the S/C. It's the supercharger.
Supercharger. Great, I love ABBA. Yeah, because when I bought it, the plates are a bit scruffy, and they've got this awful. I think it was a second owner, got it from some half-baked off-brand leasing company or something. So it's got like in a horrible cursive typeface, it's got the name of some leasing company you've never heard of written at the bottom. And they're just a bit tired. And when I bought it, the bloke at the specialist where I got it from went, as we were sort of walking around it, he went, "Oh, I should have put new plates on it for you." And I went, "Yeah, they are a bit manky." And he went, "I just assumed you'd got a private reg you'd be sticking on it." And I was like, "How dare you?"
What, and you were like, "No.
Do I look like a man who has a private reg?"
Did you get him to pay for the plates, though, Rich? I bet you're so polite you didn't.
I didn't. No, I didn't.
You stroker.
And of course, it's one of those jobs where you go, it's because it's not essential. The car is legal. It has number plates on it. I just keep putting it off.
I would have just gone, listen, I'm not happy about this. I'm going to need you to put £60 worth of unleaded petrol in the car. Can you go and do it now? Thank you. I think I'm not happy. I might turn away from this deal. He'll just immediately go and put 60 quid in, which is what in that car, about a third of a tank, and then
yeah, thereabouts. Yeah, it got me a good 10 or 20 miles.
Yeah.
Well, so the thing is, of course, the detail that you have to be on top of, which is why you can't just wander down to Halfords and get them to do it, is the back plate on those is slightly oversized to fit the aperture properly, and they look rubbish if you put a normal plate on. It just looks too gappy. Once you notice, you can't unnotice it, and you do see them around with standard size plates and just go, oh, it looks a bit lost. They look much better with a sort of 1.5 height plate on it.
Is it
152 millimetres, sir.
I remember the Rover 75 having a very unusual rear plate shape.
Yeah,
that I bet only
plates.
A couple of people in the whole industry bothered to do. But
yeah, it was almost like a sign of which new Rover 75s came from a dealer that was paying attention, because if they bothered to put the shaped plate in, it sort of showed they were on it. The Jag S type was the same, actually, I think, wasn't it? They had you could get a shaped plate for the aperture there, but some people didn't bother.
I do like those. I don't think I own a car which needs a specific plate.
No, I mean, it's a little bit of a pain in the ring, but it's perfectly easy just to go online and order, and lots of places have a drop down and you can order it's perfectly legit. I'm not monkeying around. So yeah, so I want totally plain plates, normal, legal typeface, no border, no extra bits. Certainly, because that's the other thing that makes the current ones horrible. They've got that faux 3D effect on them.
Oh, that would piss you off.
I know. It's pissed me off. Every time I walk up to the car, it pisses me off, and I go, must remember to get some new number plates, but then keep putting it off. And so today I finally ordered the plates, and now I look forward to making a complete cock of drilling them. But
did you put a fictitious dealer name underneath? Or?
I should have touched it.
I was expecting you to say that you
All Days and Onions.
Oh, bloody hell, man. Can I get you a small All Days and Onions like sticker which could go underneath?
Yeah.
What would it be? Property of, or just All Days and Onions?
Well, maybe All Days and Onions, and then underneath that in smaller italics, some kind of slogan.
On that side of things?
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about driving around in joke, but it's got a certain amount of appeal. Anyway, it's too late now because I've ordered.
Why would a company have "on that side of things" as their slogan? I'm trying to work out the relevance that could ever.
But I don't know. It's got merit as a slogan because it's sort of fantastically meaningless. So
yeah, it'd be on your side of things, perhaps, if it was. A service that was dedicated for you.
Yeah.
On your side of things. But I just can't believe the number of people that have actually come up to us when we were at Goodwood and said that.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? Of all the things,
that seem to
become
have stuck,
a catchphrase. It's
sticky. It's very sticky.
It's very sticky. Oh, watch it! It's sticky. There used to be a car dealer up north. I think they were just up north, called Curry Motors. I don't know if they still exist.
Is it IE?
Their slogan.
IE? I remember seeing them. Yeah.
They used to advertise on the TV in the Granada region when I was a kid, and their slogan was "nice people to do business with."
Oh yeah.
But they were often referred to locally as a nice business to do people with.
Nice people. What about if on the one day you went to trade your car in or buy another car, they weren't nice people to deal with? No. They were hungover, they were cross. Their cat had just shat on the front doormat as they were leaving the house, and they've stepped it into a car that had just been peedy-eyed. Oh, for crying out loud.
Sorry, Danny, I've just walked cat shit into that new Astra. Oh, there's a seamless link. There's a new Astra out.
Oh, there is. And I can't remember whether I messaged you, but I really like it. I think it is a far superior looking piece of design than the Mark 8 Golf.
Do you not see some of the Mark 8 Golf in the rear three-quarter? It's the shape of the back lights.
I was going to say the back lights is either 7.5 Golf...
Yeah.
Or 8 Golf, but 7.5 Golf, it's no bad thing. But yes, rear three-quarter quite similar, but front end significantly better because of the Vauxhall visor.
That visor, I do like.
I like the visor.
This is quite distinctive, but it's sort of neat, and it's
not fussy.
It's not fussy. It's got a certain amount of kind of slight aggression to it, which a lot of car faces do, and it's no bad thing.
Face.
What I was looking at, though, was not the face. The sides are sort of... They've got some slightly wonky attempts to kind of give it wheel arch haunches that seem in the photographs to be visible from some angles and not so much from others. And I can't make my mind up. I'd like to see it in real life to see what it's like. I also find myself looking at it, though, and when you can't see the visor, thinking... Is this a Vauxhall? What about this is Vauxhall-y? What is Vauxhall? Who am Vauxhall? What are? I don't know. It just seems...
what, like it's having to latch on to another...
Yeah, I don't sort of... It's quite generic in a way. Like, it's a nice enough looking car.
Yeah.
Doesn't make me sort of do a bit of sick, like, say, the BMW iX. But
no.
I don't know. It's... Because, also... Very quietly, the last few generations of Astra have all been quite nice looking in a sort of anonymous-y sort of way.
Oh, yeah. Well,
there's not been a howler amongst them.
No, I don't know if I said this out loud, and I'm quite happy to, but I think it's 2 generations of Astra ago, the one where you could buy the 3-door GTC.
Yes.
Best shape Astra.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Every time I look at it, I go... That's better shape than probably any hot hatch of the last few years, and yet it's not actually a hot hatch. It's not the VXR, but it just looks so effortlessly fast and stocky. I like it. I think it's great.
Stocky is the word.
It's
yeah,
it's the gluten intolerance that they have to deal with, and I've said this before as well.
Yeah.
People just don't like it because it's a Vauxhall. It's like, that's gluten intolerant, which is sort of car racism.
Yeah, but no, I'm just looking at some pictures. So yes, that generation, you're right. The 3-door sort of
3-door's got this wonderful crease that goes round the door handle and then back like an arrowhead. And I really think it's fantastic. If that had a Ford badge on, if that had been a Focus ST,
yeah,
storming. But the Focus ST didn't look that good. It could have only...
Almost cartoonish, though, wasn't it? It was sort of... Because it's so kind of muscular for a normal car.
Yeah.
But, yeah. No, fair play. It was good. And I thought the 5-door was a good-looking car as well, because we had that as a reasonably priced car on Top Gear, and it was a perfectly nice-looking car.
Yeah.
I mean, actually quite attractive as sort of normal hatchbacks go.
It's almost Vauxhall's Sirocco without giving it a new... denomination.
Yeah,
it was very Sirocco-like. if you dig the Sirocco, which I did. I thought it was good. I thought it was good. Yeah,
it were right.
Oh, I love
right,
that car, mate.
Right, nice.
Oh, I love that car, mate. Oh, I love that.
That's right, nice. That. Yeah. So, anyway, I don't know. Do we? I haven't actually done a particularly deep investigation of the new Ashtray, but as far as I can work out, there's going to be some plug-in hybrids, of course, because it's 2021, and it's Peugeot 308 underneath. Yeah, because Vauxhall are now part of
Stellantis.
Reach for the laser.
Stellantis, hand in the air. Move your arse. Yeah.
Well,
now the Astra's only going to be available as a sporty 5-door, apparently.
Yeah, but that's just where it's going, isn't it? Because there's no 3-door Golf this time around for the first time ever.
No, which is a little bit depressing. 8-speed auto, 6-speed manual.
But ironically, in the same car.
Oh yeah, of course.
Radical multi-transmission technology.
That just sounds like an advert for special washing powder. And I've realised that nobody buys washing powder anymore. I've had this conversation with my wife. It's like, why are we buying all these liquids in pulse packs, which just look like serums in cartoons from a wacky inventor's laboratory?
Pulse pack? What
like it's a sort of like it's a dissolvable. Looks like
capsule.
Capsule, rather than it's like, can we just have a scoop of really good powder? That just
not
again,
powder,
that just sounds like a druggie.
Rubbish, though, isn't it?
Why is it rubbish, though?
Because it all gets claggy and stays in the drawer if you're not careful.
No, it doesn't. If it's been developed properly, all they're doing is they're taking our eye off the fact they haven't done a good enough job, and they want to sell us something that's more complicated and probably worse for the watercourse.
Yeah, those dishwasher ones as well that come in, and it's a little tablet, and it's wrapped in plastic, but the plastic is soluble.
Yes.
Well, when we started using those, I didn't know the plastic was soluble. I thought you had to peel each capsule, which is a fucking fiddly thing to do, as it turns out, because they're not meant to be peeled.
It is, Brian. You're absolutely right.
And it was only because a mate was round one day when I was doing it, and he went, "What are you doing?"
Have to do that.
I'm taking the plastic off the thing. And he went, "You don't have to."
Yeah, I've done that, Rich. You're not the only one. I've done it.
Hey, do you want to know a sort of interesting fact about washing laundry detergents, as it's probably called? I suppose
I'm going to challenge you.
Non-bio is all a bit of a scam.
Really?
It's the thing that causes a lot of skin irritation with people who have eczema and stuff like that. Is actually the perfume in detergent, and not the biological bit. But when I can't remember which was the first brand to introduce biological washing powder, Persil or Ariel, I guess. They changed the fragrance in it, and then they got a lot of complaints from people it was irritating their skin. So they hastily reintroduced the old non-bio powder that they had been selling, but billed it as the skin-friendly option, and all the other major laundry detergent manufacturers went, "Oh my God, they're cleaning up on this," and did exactly the same. And non-bio became associated with sensitive skin, but it's not true.
So
is
bio better at cleaning?
Yes.
But yet everyone's scared of it.
People are scared of it because they think it's, and I'm sure in some cases it does, but a friend of mine used to work for a large laundry detergent manufacturer, and he said it's not necessarily any better for your skin. It's probably the fragrance that is
This Smith and Stiff podcast is delivering its consumer hard-hitting.
Britain's number one car podcast once again delivers on the laundry detergent facts.
Yeah. Well, the Astra's 4 millimetres longer than the previous model, just so you know.
Is it?
Which was launched in 2015. Yeah.
That's hardly anything, is it? It's good. It didn't need to get any bigger, I'd imagine, but
no. And it's got got the next gen of the IntelliLux LED pixel headlights, which in the Corsa that I had for a few weeks were brilliant. One of the best headlights I've tested in a long while, especially for the especially for the price point of the car. Yeah, really good. Really quite pleasing.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was reading one thing that said that in pretty quick order, considering how long's Vauxhall been part of Stellantis? It's not that long. And now only one Vauxhall isn't on a group Stellantis / Peugeot Citroën platform, which is the Insignia.
Oh yeah, They've worked quickly.
Is the only bit of General Motors legacy technology that exists in the Vauxhall range. So they've been busy.
Beavering away, haven't they?
I don't actually know how many cars are in the Vauxhall range anymore. I'm going to have a quick look here because
can we do a quick guess? I'm going to try and guess them, and you're going to tell me if I'm right or wrong.
I like this game.
Okay,
right, here we go.
This is only passenger cars, right? Not vans.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you don't have to do vans.
There's something under a Corsa which I've immediately forgotten. Then you got the Crossland. You've got the Astra. You've got the Grandland X.
Yep. Good. Well done. Yeah.
You've got the Insignia.
Yep.
There is something else. There's one more. Oh, what's that? Damn it! Vauxhall Quiz robbing me of my freedom.
Popped into a coffee shop. What are you going to have?
Oh, the Mocha, of course. Norfolk's favourite car for clogging up the roads every time I go and see my father-in-law. Yeah, I've been stuck behind so many.
You don't
Mochas.
mention that on the website, but yeah. Fair enough.
Honestly, I've been stuck behind so many who obviously the owners have no idea there's anything beyond fourth gear. Or maybe it's just an auto that they've accidentally slapped into low, and it's.
Don't labour the engine, Deirdre. All right, I'll just go slowly. You've missed. Now I'll give you a swerve because they are sort of vans, but they are vans that are on their car page because they've got windows and seats in the back. The Combo Life.
Oh yes. Which was a great hit by Stellantis, actually. I really enjoyed that one.
Combo Life.
Combo Life.
And the one that sounds even more like some kind of hygiene product, the Vivaro Life.
I love the Vivaro Life. That's obviously, hygiene down below.
Actually, Vivaro Life sounds like some kind of website set up by a celebrity to rival Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop or whatever it's called. That the
Vivaro Life is life insurance for whether in the advert it's always a bloke with completely white hair, but you look at him and go, he's younger than me. What's going on? He's supposed to be old, but he's not older than me.
Your family's health is the most important thing. Am I right? That's why at Vivaro Life we look after you and your family.
Wouldn't it be a real shame if your heart stopped working and therefore you were dead? If you did, then all your friends and family would be sad. But we can give them money, and this is how we do it.
Remember, you're in your 40s now, and you're probably worried about your own mortality. Well, so are we. But don't worry. If you conk out from a heart attack or stroke, we'll give your kids a load of money so they forget about you until your wife remarries.
And also, we'll send a private ambulance round, and it will be a Vivaro.
Vivaro Life.
An electric one, nice and quiet. No one will need to know that the dead person's being removed from the house. I was following a private ambulance the other day.
Private ambulance taking a body. Best not to think what's inside.
A very unsexy Tina Turner song, I'd say, that one.
Yeah, really. Ooh, a bit too procedural for my liking. One other point of order about the Vauxhall range: the Corsa is now the smallest car they make. The Adam and the Viva and all that have been deleted.
Ah, okay. Because I had a pang of nervousness. Like, there is a sub Corsa vehicle, but I can't remember what it's called.
This is a good game, though, isn't it? Do you want to try it with Ford?
Fords.
I'm
going to try. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll try. I feel like I'm.
Or you could do. I'll do one if you want.
I reckon you'll get Fords. Fords.
Have you got the Ford website there?
No, I can bring it up in a jiffy. Hang on.
Yeah. I wasn't offering to post you the website. I just assumed you've got a computer there. I think the one that would be really difficult at the moment is Toyota. Or Citroen, for that matter. I'm not entirely sure I've got a grasp on Citroen.
Yeah, Toyota I might be all right with. Yeah.
So
Toyota are doing good stuff at the moment, I've realised.
Yeah, it does feel like they're in a bit of a roll, doesn't it?
Okay, I've got
bits and pieces.
I've got the Fords website up.
Okay, so from the bottom, I think there's no Ka or Ka Plus anymore. They've gone. So the smallest car they make, I think, is now the Fiesta.
You're absolutely right. It's the Uncle Fester.
There's no EcoSport or EcoSport, as they insist on calling it, because that was shit. But there's the Cougar, isn't it? That's the small SUV crossover-y thing.
Well, hang on.
Then,
according to my website, which is called Ford.co.uk, you can still very much buy the Eco, definitely not EcoSport.
Really?
From £20,800.
No.
Yeah.
God, I thought they'd binned it.
No, I think, unfortunately, people are still buying it.
What's the point in that when the Cougar is... And is it just me, or do you see Cougars around a lot? Like, that car seems to be selling really well, based on how many you see on the street.
You do see... I'm seeing, and there's another. So, okay, on the website here, from what it's showing me, Fiesta, EcoSport, then something.
Oh, Cougar.
No.
Oh.
Then.
Focus. Is it going in that order?
It's something, then Focus. I am giving away a lot of information because I've obviously just said Focus. Not that I didn't think you'd know that the Ford sold a Focus, but.
They do still sell the Focus. They've not just sort of deleted it without mentioning.
No, they still say they still sell the Focus.
There's
something in between the EcoSport and the Focus, according to this. And price-wise, it's almost identical to the Focus starting price.
Oh God! Well, it's not the Cougar because that's bigger.
God, this is a gash pub quiz, isn't it?
Well, it's a hard one.
Yeah, and we're supposed to know.
I know
because we're in the industry.
I'm completely. Stumped as to Puma. Puma was what I meant, not Cougar.
Well,
you've been saying Cougar and I meant Puma.
Well,
the small SUV. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one that I see around loads. That I thought would have usurped the EcoSport.
So Fiesta, EcoSports, which has there's no sporty attributes to the EcoSport at all.
No,
like none. And I bet you it's not that much more eco than the Fiesta or any of the others. So it's a non-starter of a name.
It's like calling fishing a sport, isn't it? It's like it's not. It's an activity, but it's not sporty. You just sit down.
It's just generic white socks with sport written on, as we've said before. They're not really compatible with any sport.
Fiesta,
EcoSport, Puma,
Cougar.
Focus.
Sorry, Puma. I keep getting it mixed up. Puma, Focus, Cougar.
Yeah. Then you got
Mondeo.
You got Cougar. You got something in between Cougar and Mondeo. Price.
Oh Jesus!
Apparently, yeah.
Is this not the Ranger?
No, something a little bit more car-like than that.
Oh God!
Oh, this is good. It's nice on the website. You can still just scroll down. Do you want me to help you?
Okay. Well, you're going to have to. Completely. Okay. So something between the Mondeo and between the Cougar and the Mondeo.
Yeah.
No, I've no idea. I'm completely stumped now.
Okay, so I'll go through.
Yeah.
Fiesta, EcoSport, Puma, Focus, Tornado Connect, which is in there just because it's a price. It's priced around the same as the Focus.
Okay, no, fair enough.
Cougar, Mach-E, Mustang.
Mach-E!
Yeah, Mach-E!
Mach-E!
It's a Scottish car. And then the Mondeo. So the Mach-E is sort of size-wise, I guess, between the Cougar and the Mondeo. And then you've got the next line where we go into actual Mustang, S-Max, Galaxy, Tornado Custom, which is the full-size people carrier.
Oh, of course,
based
right.
On the and then, of course, you scroll down a bit lower, and then on its own, just sitting there is the Ford GT.
Oh, they're still listing it on the website, I suppose.
Yeah, it's still listing on the website. I don't know if I click on it. Can I just click and collect?
But then the Ranger as well. Is the Ranger not on that page because it's technically a commercial vehicle?
I think it's classed as a commercial. In fact, if I go over to the vans and pickups, then you've got Fiesta van, Transit Courier van, Transit Connect, Transit Double Cab, double cab combi, blah blah blah, chassis cab single, blah blah blah. There we go. Oh yeah. What's the price? What's the cheapest Ranger? So single cab, come in refrigerator white. How much is it excluding VAT?
Excluding VAT, I'm going to say £24,000 or thereabouts.
This is such a shit pub quiz. I've just realised, listeners, I'm so sorry. We've really.
What, you don't think that people are gripped and playing along?
I don't
know. Cheating. No nipping to the loo to look at your smartphone.
It is from 21,950 sheets, excluding VAT. So that's a regular
22
cab.
grand. 22 grand plus
22,
VAT.
22 plus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that seems like what do you get? What engine's in that? So like diesel of some description.
The base model is Savaganda.
I don't really know anything about the Ranger except the Raptor.
Oh, hang on, you can get the base model, I think, in silver, and I don't know if it costs any more. Interesting.
Now here's the thing: base model colours like
Eco Blue diesel, 170 PS, 420 NM, torques.
Have you noticed that a lot of cars these days, essentially there is one colour you can have for free, and it's usually white.
Oh, they're quietly being very, very filthy.
Everything else costs more. Sometimes it's red, but it's usually white because it's sort of like, look, it's a flat white, and not the Australian coffee. It's going to look a bit dog shit in real life.
Yeah,
you better pony up for the extra
pearlescent white,
pearlescent or metallic or whatever. I happened to be looking for reasons that aren't interesting at the Kia Picanto range the other day, and the freebie colour on the Kia Picanto is like a sort of really vibrant kind of goldy green colour.
Oh, that's cool. Which is
quite cool, but it's weird they've just picked that and gone. Yeah, it's. But of all the colours, you just go, okay, fair enough. I don't know what it looks like in real life, but it looked all right on the website. You go, probably it's quite unusual colour.
I said my sister-in-law's Folds C-Max has finally died.
Right.
Oil light came on and car continued to be used. So that's dead. And she was actually looking at a new Kia Brian Canto, and she said, "Are they any good?" I said, "Yeah, they are. They're really good." So I think she's wondering whether to go for that or maybe a Peugeot, maybe a 2-year-old Peugeot 208.
Oh no, get the Kia.
You reckon?
Well, what, a new one? I mean, it's got a massive warranty. They feel really well made. I drove the. There's like a sort of Rover Streetwise version of that Picanto that's a bit jacked up and it's got arch extensions on it. Oh. It's a bit unnecessary. But I borrowed one to write about for the paper, and it was a really nice little car. It was like, it got that small car quality of feeling eager and excitable, and you could zoom about in it without actually going that fast. But it also felt really good quality, like they put money into it. It felt more expensive than its actual price.
So it's a bit like, I think the VW Up has always felt a bit like that.
Yeah, exactly that. You know how the Up feels sort of fundamentally quite well made.
Yeah.
I don't know how reliable they are in real life. I've never heard anyone go, my bloody Up's broken down again. And my neighbours have got one and they seem to love it. But and
it's not broken down on outside the house.
I was just thinking, I have got a real craving for a little car with a manual gearbox all of a sudden. I just sort of quite fancy one.
Well, we both fancied an Up GTI, didn't we, when they first came out, when they were selling them for about 11 grand.
I know. Like, I was on the website the other day having a look at the Up GTI again.
Would you get a brand new one though? Would you just get a 2-year-old one for like 3 grand?
Do you know what? Yeah, well, sadly they're not 3 grand as it turns out. But also, I think that's one of those cars where I would really prefer to have a new one because I know it's not been ragged within an inch of its life by the previous owner, which inevitably it will have done because it's one of those sorts of cars, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. It probably is.
I mean, I would happily buy, not that I'm in a position to do this, but I'd happily buy a second-hand Ferrari because all Ferraris do is drive slowly around Knightsbridge or at 67 miles an hour on the motorway. You never see a Ferrari being used in a furious way, do you?
You sometimes see them going in for the big whip donut in the camping area of Le Mans, and it doesn't quite go according to plan, and it takes out a temporary toilet block. And
I've never seen that though. Not in a Ferrari. I've seen some knobbery going on, but not in Ferraris particularly. Have you seen that?
Yeah, there's videos.
You sure it wasn't an MR2 with a body kit on it?
Oh, I can't.
Or a Fiero.
I can't be sure that it wasn't a Mr. 2. Oh god, I'd have to go back and look very carefully at the window apertures.
Yes.
You're probably right. I mean, second-hand Ferrari, like you said, they hardly ever get used, don't they? But there are some cars you just go, I'd love a Megane R26 or an R26R. And I know we talked about this at Goodwood because you guys had one on the Grand Tour for filming. Is that right?
We did, but it's for an item that hasn't been released yet and won't be for quite a while. But yeah, we did. They bought one. The production team bought one.
I didn't
because
say
the R26, they're relatively affordable still, aren't they? But that you just don't know where it's been.
Well, everyone I speak to about a highly strung Renault Sport vehicle, as great as they are, you have to tread exceptionally carefully in the used market.
Yeah.
But of course, you can't buy something like the R26 or R26R anymore, and that was my favourite era of Megane. Although it was a bit divisive, a lot of people didn't like it. But no, I totally want one. Well, I know the R is pretty much worth double the R26.
I can believe it,
significantly higher residuals, because I guess it was a sort of almost a homologation type thing. But I'd be down with one of those. I'd be down with one of those.
They are incredible to drive. And I suppose that's the thing, because you can't get them new, you would just have to take your chances. It's cars that you can still buy new and that don't seem to depreciate massively, like the Up GTI, which relatively seems to sort of hold its value. I don't think there's any around for less than
Tesla 3.
Are they holding their value?
Yeah. Like second-hand Tesla 3 and a certain S is there's not a lot in it because, of course, there's a supply issue. So therefore, the second-hand buoyancy keeps rising, and you do get to a point where you're like, well, hang on, why would I buy it with someone else's guffs in it for 800 quid less?
Exactly. I mean, I know normally good sense says you get better value second-hand because someone else has taken that depreciation hit, but there is something lovely about a brand new car that no one else has guffed in, like you say. It's mostly about the guffs, but it's also just that then you know where it's been and it's yours, and it's nice, because that's what we did when we bought that little Fiat 500 that was my wife's car for a while. At that point, they were holding their value so ridiculously well that it was like, let's just get a new one, and then we know where it's been, and we can get the new twin air engine in it, which is part of the appeal for me, because it was an interesting engine. I'm just looking up because I wonder what the cheapest Up GTI in Britain currently is. So I'm going to go on the Autotrader.
Yeah, it'll be a really, really high mileage. It'll be someone that's just leathered it for 50,000 miles straight away, won't it?
All right, here we go. There's joint winners, 2, and they're both red 3-doors.
Yeah, it has to be 3-door.
9995. And so the first one is an 18-plate 3-door in red, nearly 47,000 miles, full VW service history.
Yeah.
I would hope so. And the other one, same price, 29,000 miles. 2 owners. 2 owners, really? In 3 years.
It could be like dad and daughter or something.
Yeah, stuff like that. Does that always... I always just go, uh-oh. I don't know why. There's no reason. There's another one here.
How much is that again, Rich? How much was that again?
9995 to you, sir. I think that's a private...
I remember, but they were like 12 when they were new.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They've not. I mean, these are ones were back when they cost like 12 or 13 grand. So
what are they right now?
They hold their value. Why don't I just go and buy one of these? Because I don't need another car.
Because you don't need another car, you complete dingling. It will sit under a tree and get covered in sap and pigeon shite.
The Defender's going into storage.
Oh,
but then
okay.
I would sort of have 4 cars. It's going to storage just for a bit till we figure out if we're going to move out of London or whatever. Because at the moment it's going to start getting clobbered by the ULEZ extension. So
yeah, don't put it in storage too soon. I'm hoping you might bring it to the show that I'm going to try and do. The late
well, you know
show
what?
on tour.
I've actually got a press car. Weirdly, I already know what I've got that weekend because I've got a press car booked in to review. And it's not very exciting, but I need to put some miles on it so I can write about it.
Well, if it's not interesting, no, you need to bring a Defender because it's the last of the breed and it's interesting. Yeah, you need.
Is it more interesting than a Kia Sorento plug-in hybrid?
I think if I put a Kia Sorento plug-in hybrid on an interesting position at the show, people might come and throw stones at me. Not saying that it's a crap car, it's just probably not visually... it's not a visual treat in the way that a very late Defender, last of the line...
They are a bit
You've got to bring the deaf.
Well, yeah, but like
the people
I said, I've got
will
to drive
demand
this other car to write about it for a newspaper. Okay, so the most expensive up GTI that's second-hand. Have they changed it? This looks like there's a new red on these cars that's actually a sort of...
They did a
second
gen thing, didn't they? They did which is when the
this
price
new
popped
red
up.
is really nice. Have a look. There's a sort of... It's more purpley, I would say. It's not a bright red, but it's quite a sophisticated colour. Suits it. But $17,990 for a bloody...
See, this
car
is the
that
problem.
Used to cost 13 or something grand.
Yeah, the moment's gone because 13 feels so much nicer than 17. It just seems like such a huge jump.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
I know it's bad, but I just...
But look, the prices of these are a bit all over the place. So then I quite like a black one, I think, and I'd want a 5-door because I've got kids. So there's a black 5-door here for $14,950, which sort of feels okay. And it's only a year old, 4,500 miles on it, and it's got the light and sight pack on it, which is
light and sight.
Light and sight. It means it's got lights and a clear windscreen, and I don't know what that is. Probably just.
It's got a clear. Did you just say a clear windscreen?
Climate control. I can't remember. Anyway, they're lovely little cars. I do have a craving for them. But a normal up is a nice little car. A Citroen C1's quite an amusing little car. Come to that, I haven't driven a little manual transmission car for ages, and there's something just great
there's a lot.
Particularly
to
live
like.
in the city.
There's a lot.
Zooming about. I just want to zoom about. I don't have a car at the moment that allows me to zoom about. Even my Porsche, it's not quite the same. It's a bit too mature. Anyway,
okay,
moans about owning expensive cars. What else were we going to talk about? Oh, yes. Now, well, first of all, have you recovered from our wonderful, wonderful weekend at glorious, gouty Goodwood?
I was a little tired. The Jimny was not the best car for me to travel home in, I'm going to say. I knew it's not a motorway car anyway, but got stuck in all the traffic on the way home, miserable, lots of rain, and I was quite tired, and I just didn't want to be in it. I have to say, I didn't really want to be in it. So as lovely as it is, it's done 2 big motorway journeys recently for the first time in probably a year.
Yeah,
and it's reminded me that the charm is not there. On that side of things,
I think it's like my Defender, that if you're in a cheery mood and it's on a nice day, it's like the car sort of matches your mood. And when you're tired and it's pissing down and you just want to get home, it feels terrible and it just pisses you off, and then it becomes a sort of, I think the opposite of a virtuous circle. Yeah, becomes a death spiral where you just go, oh, for fuck's sake!
Exactly.
Why did I bring this car?
I just wish I was in an E-Class Merc or a Jag XF or something on the way home, or an EV. But there's a reason why I took that car down. But anyway,
I got home from Goodwood and went to bed at 9:45 because I was really tired. But I think that's
a very, very wise move. But I
said to my wife, I'm just going to bed, and she went, it's like 9:30. I went, no, I'm just going to bed. And by 9:45, I was upstairs.
There you were, and you fell asleep.
You've got to be quite hardline about this. Yeah.
You mustn't look at your phone when you've made that decision, or glance at the flickering images of the television, because I think we've said this on a previous podcast. Yeah, you'll suddenly catch a glimpse of a 90s car chase, and you'll be like, oh no, I'm going to get lassoed back towards the flickering lights.
It's just, isn't it? You go, oh, I'm so tired. I just watched 5 minutes of TV, and now on ITV4, all of the Godfather films back to back. And the next thing you know, it's gone light outside, and you go, oh, you fucking idiot! Why do you do that?
Oh, it's awful. It's awful.
I might not stick around for Godfather 3, but even so, 9:45 to bed, and I did. That helps a bit because I was a bit knackered, but also I got out of there a bit early on Saturday because when I arrived at the car park, there was already a man in a Cayman who dug himself a hole by accident and was having to be pushed out of this muddy mess. And I just thought, this is only going to get worse. Yeah. If you were the last out of that car park when 1,000 other cars have already churned it up, you'd have been all right in the Jimny, I reckon. But I was in that Golf R, and I think it would have just been a problem.
But did you go for the full loop, the full throttle loop 4-wheel drive, instant gratification, and just rooster tailing mud everywhere?
No, because it was there were a lot of other parked cars, and it was pissing it down and very muddy, and there were people walking about looking a bit sad under umbrellas, and it would have been really twatty to do that. Tempting though it was. I gave it a little tickle on the way out, and there was on this track, and it immediately did the wiggle of the hips because it was so that real sort of slithery mud.
Slither, yeah. I love that.
But the thing we didn't talk about in the last show.
There's a lot we didn't talk about.
Well, there's a lot we didn't talk about, but a specific car that we didn't talk about in the last show was the Ineos Grenadier that we both had a right good poke around.
Oh, at the show. Yeah, it was at the show.
At the show.
Yeah.
And first of all, I didn't like the look of it in pictures because I thought it was just a terrible pastiche of a Defender.
Yeah.
In real life, it sort of sits somewhere between a pastiche of a Defender and a G-Wagen, I think. It's got definite overtones of the G-Wagen in places.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of the styling, I think, is really heavy-handed and not brilliant. Like, it just sort of... It looks like some kind of bizarre off-brand 4x4 from some former Soviet state that you've never heard of at the front. It's like it needs a grill badge or something. It's just very I don't know.
Well, it's the Spanish Defender, the Spanish-made Defender, wasn't it?
Oh, the Carlos Santana, yeah.
I think it looks really similar to that, and I'm glad we got to look at it in the metal because I'm actually I've got quite into it, and you sat in it, didn't you? So you sat in the sort of final cabin or near final cabin.
Yeah, they let me sit in it. I wanted to see how it felt compared to a Defender in terms of the driving position and how much elbow room you get, because it's the constant moan about old Defenders, isn't it? Oh, there's nowhere to put your right elbow, and it's like, it actually doesn't bother me, but I think I'm just used to it. I don't know. But equally, if you get back into a Defender after driving a modern car, you do sort of go, "Ooh, right, a bit hemmed in here." They've fixed that. It's got plenty of elbow room. Yeah. It's not cramped in there at all. It's got a perfectly good driving position. It's got really nice seats. They're Recaro seats, but not sort of sports seats. They're like, I don't know, just sort of good.
And they're all manually adjustable, not electric,
manually adjustable. Deliberately so, yeah. So you could flood the thing, or they make a point of saying you can hose it out, but then they're sort of with the caveat you can hose it out up to sort of where the the centre stack,
the gear shifters in the console,
gear shifter, yeah. So you can hose out the floor.
I'd probably just use a sponge, like a.
I would not turn a hose on a car interior that had electronics in it. Yeah. I mean, but the same is true of the new Defender because that's got rubber mats, hasn't it? I'm sure you can hose out the floor of that.
Well, as someone that's recently actually hosed out a car,
oh yes,
I can tell you that it's a commitment. It's quite a commitment. You've got to be really sure that you want to do it, and I always park the car at the right angle.
This feels wrong.
It does feel wrong. It really does, and you've got to have a little bit of a plan because we don't live in a country like, let's say, Arizona. Whereas if you lived in the States in Arizona, you could just leave the doors open for 12 hours, and the car would be drier than it's ever been. Whereas over here, no, not really like that. So you can't get all that moisture out. So I would go for the sponge approach, bucket and sponge.
I think, if in doubt, just err on the side of caution. But yeah, so I sat in that thing. The interior, again, the design is full of good intentions with all those big switches and buttons, and they're all sort of labelled, and they've gone for this kind of faux aircraft cockpit aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's a bit heavy-handed. Again, it's just sort of
a bit big.
I can see what they're trying to do, but I honestly. And then it's got a generic BMW automatic gear selector.
Yes, it does.
Which the guy from Ineos explained to me. It's like it would have been, I can't remember how many million quid. He said 5 million quid or something to redesign it when it's a perfectly good functional part. But of course, it's quite complicated and important because it's got to keep working. So. You redesign it costs you a fortune, or you accept that the bit that BMW will sell you is perfectly good. But of course, then it doesn't quite fit with the rest of the design because the low ratio selector is like a really old-fashioned thing with a spherical
Soviet
black knob on
style.
top.
Well, looks like the one in the Neva.
Soviet.
But you could just sort of sleeve that modern BMW shifter. You could sleeve it over with some like military canvas and stitch it up, let's say. So you're not chiseling it off and putting a stick over it, but you could clothe it, because it's all like I say, it's very shiny and it's sort of female form like. And when you look at the rest of the car, it's very set square and like an old school military. But I think that I like the Grenadier. I'm especially all the sort of external racking system and the amount of effort they've gone to make it useful. I think the one aspect that I just can't get on with at the moment are the front and rear light clusters. I think, and I was looking at it to see if I bought one, which I'm not intending to, but if I bought one, those circular rear lights, they don't look right as circles. They should be oblongs or squares, I think, on this car, probably an oblong. Could I just remove them and just put another light cluster in? And would that look even stranger? And I actually don't think it would look stranger. I think it would look okay. So I think it's the light clusters that make it slightly googly-eyed and you know, and I think because lights are very important on a car because they create a face, and whether you believe that or whether you don't, I think that's my theory. And the front end, the eyes are a little bit too far apart, because the grille, I think, is shallower than the trad Defender like yours. But no, on the whole, I'm really looking forward to driving it. And I actually got chatting to some well-heeled farmers next to me who had put orders in for one or two, actually, one of them being a pickup. And and they were really keen to look at the underneath of it and the bits that are going to get used hard and dirty. And they were pleased with the size of the back of the boot area and the ruggedness, because he genuinely said we can put 2 U's in there, and that was why I was holding back on my reservation of whether I should buy it. It's like, really, 2 U's? Okay. So yeah, you know, he said he justified it by saying we've since Defenders died, we've had lots of pickups, usually Hiluxes. And they'll do us for a decade, but at the end of the decade, they're normally very, very, very tired and possibly worthless. He said, my theory here is I buy this car for 45 and it lasts me for 12 years, and at the end of the 12 years, it's still got some residual value, despite me using it the same as I would use it any other way.
Yeah.
Whether that's the case, I don't know. I mean,
that's the thing. One of the things I thought, they certainly talk a good game about how much effort they've put into making it durable and tough. And if that is true, then fair play. It should be a thing that will last a while. It's definitely, that's the thing. I mean, I couldn't, when they announced it, I think I had a bit of a moan about it on a previous podcast. And
you did, Richard.
What a stupid thing it was, but it is more impressive in real life. You sort of go, okay, that looks like some thought has gone into this. Also, that was obviously a hand-built prototype that we were allowed to poke around, but it felt extremely well made in the ways that you'd want it to.
Yes,
the doors all shut nicely, and that split tailgate's quite smart as well. It splits vertically, so there's a small bit and a big bit, and you can just open the small bit to chuck little things in, and even actually up to a certain size of dog would squeeze through there.
A certain size of dog.
I couldn't tell you exactly what size, but let's say it's probably the cutoff is around Labrador, and then there's a big bit if you need to have full access to it, and it's bear in mind how wonkily the tailgates on old Defenders fit. I thought it felt like it was much more precisely made, as you'd hope, because they've done it on computers, whereas fundamentally the Defender was all designed on the back of envelopes. So it should be well made, because it's a 21st century car that's sort of pretending a bit not to be. So I don't know. I'll reserve judgment, but I can see the appeal, and the bit that really did interest me was those farmers that you were talking to that were there genuinely to size up a working vehicle for their farm, which sort of defies my belief that farmers
will buy a car like that.
They'll buy like that Ranger we were just talking about. You can get a basic Ranger for 22 grand, claim the VAT back. Then because that Ineos is going to be, 50, isn't it? So you could have two Rangers
with options,
but then maybe the Ranger just becomes a bit tatty and hopeless after a few years. I don't know, maybe it doesn't.
I think anyone buying a pickup truck, just remember this: if you're going to use it as a working vehicle, it will always be claggy and damp underneath. So before you've used it like that, for goodness sake, spend 60 or 70 quid on some cavity wax protection and just ladle it on underneath. It makes such a big difference. I'm getting on my high horse now because I can't believe people don't do it more, but it's just so easy to do. And it will preserve the car so much better, It's you're Tutankhamooning it, basically. I know what I wanted to talk to you about, which wasn't Tutankhamooning, which just makes it sound like some horrible kind of lads, some kind of horrific stag do activity.
Yes, go on.
You've got a singer doing the kind of rally Porsche off-roady thing, which I can't remember the name of. You'll remember the name of it, which is fantastic.
It wasn't at Goodwood, was it? Because I believe that Porsche have sent a sort of letter from their lawyers requesting that it doesn't have Porsche written down it so conspicuously.
Yes. Well, I can imagine that. Two things I'm thinking at this point. Because there were two Singer vehicles there, weren't there? Albeit the road cars.
Yeah, it's called I just looked this up. I cheated. It's called the ACS. That's Safari style.
That's it. There's been spy pictures of 911s, raised 992 911s being tested, and Porsche have neither confirmed nor denied that you'll be able to get an off-roady spec 911, which is exciting. It's akin to the 959 rally car,
yes,
which was bloody sexual, and but I'm now seeing that Gemballa are returning with a Dakar ready style supercar, inspired by 80s Porsche Dakar vehicles, and that's looking pretty good. But does this mean we're now going to get the opposite? So are we going to get, let's say, KN owners wanting really, really low, stiff GT race car style SUVs because they don't take them off-road, and we know they don't take them off-road. So they're thinking, well, hang on, if supercars are going to go off-roady with large axle articulation and stuff like that, bollocks, we're going the other way. Same way that Mercedes are going to go, well, we're going to take the G-Class and we're going to make it going around corners better than the AMG GTR Pro. So it's going to have a ground clearance of 1.5 inches. It's going to have suspension travel of 3 mil. And it's going to absolutely rail. And then we're going to start this weird kind of role reversal, gender reversal thing in the car industry. I'm sort of excited about that because it's just all silly.
It is all silly. It just feels like actually it needs to go, everyone just stop, reset, stay in your lanes.
But what about genres?
I quite like those safari cars.
Safari cars
it's sort
are
of like just restlessness, isn't it? Boredom and hoping to find something new that people will hook onto.
Well, have you noticed how small SUVs have become crossovers, right?
Yeah.
And I've just seen a few manufacturers, they are blending their crossovers into, wait for it, very small drum roll, it's a 5-door hatchback car. And they're trying to say this is when bringing people around, it's a new thing. We are going back to, guess what, guys? The best car you want to use on a daily basis is probably a 5-door hatch that's similar to the 5-door hatches that were around in the 90s or very early 2000s. And it's like, yeah. But I guess if it brings people around, you can call it whatever you want to call it, can't you? You can call it a cross back, hairy back... sack and crack.
Cross back, sack and crack.
There's the new genre right there. That's
there
it.
There we go.
Cross sack. Oh, that'll be a new Vauxhall. Stellantis will release it imminently. It'll be the Crossland back sack crack X or the Sack X. No.
Cross sack.
The Lada Niva cross sack.
I suppose it might. Yeah, it might.
But I know what I was going to say.
Yeah,
Porsche getting a bit cross with Singer.
Yeah,
Singer doing some incredible things that we do all aspire to, because it is very special. It's always an occasion to see a Singer out in the wild. Are Porsche going to retaliate by doing Singer reimagined by Porsche, and they're going to take the power back?
What they're buying up old Singers and modernising them so they look like 992.
Yes, yeah, or they're going
out of spite.
They're going to do it out of spite, and you can take it straight. We'll send it straight back to Stuttgart, where our artisan technicians will take all of the Singer stuff off, and it'll just look like a 964 again, but it'll be better than ever.
I think you've made that point before. There are no 964s left because they've all been turned into resto mods. So,
they are in the next 5 years. They're going to be the Porsche equivalent
964. Yeah,
they're going to be the Porsche Pangolins.
I think you're right.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, no. It's absolutely true.
I know.
Well, that'll be. I know, Johnny. I know.
Gemballa. I think Ariel are the ones should step in at this moment in time. They should ask Porsche if they're allowed to have a glass fibre or a composite mould of another Porsche. Let's say a 914 would be nice. Can we have Can we get the rights to mould a 914 body? Stick a 914 body on a Nomad. Boom, under $100,000. You've got yourself an incredible off-road and road-worthy, enjoyable grin maker. Just looks like a 914 Dakar special thing. There you go. It's a tenth of the price of a Singer. Possibly cheaper than a Gemballa. I can't imagine a Gemballa's going to be under £1 million or
well-known value brand Gemballa is probably going to charge.
Ken Barlow? Did you just say Ken Barlow?
Yeah, Ken Barlow Porsche. Very long running.
The Ken Barlow has got 740 horse, 2.5 seconds 62, 205 mile an hour top speed. Or Ken Barlow customers can opt for a second stage upgrade that lifts the power to 820 horses.
820?
Wow. Yeah.
What's happened to Ken Barlow? He's getting a bit giddy in his old age.
Well, this thing's quite. God, that's got some serious suspension. 250 mil ground clearance for off-roading. Intelligent active damper control can increase the ground clearance from 120 mil to 250. Yeah, so it's called the Gemballa.
No one ever boasts about like their car having stupid damper control, though, do they?
What, unintelligent damper control?
Yeah, absolute thicko damper control. It's constantly making it rock hard when you're driving in a straight line for no reason at all, and then it just goes all soft on one side during cornering. Or on one corner, so the whole thing kneels down. It really is absolutely dumb as fuck. Damping control. I'm so sorry, we couldn't do any better than this.
Well, it's a bit like I know you had a long-term VXR8 we talked about at Goodwood, and the guy that I recently featured his car cave on the Late Break show with the Porsche, the Carrera GT. He's saying the traction control on that car. He said apparently it's there, and there's a light on the dashboard, but it doesn't really do a lot. So it's a bit of a sort of stoner TC.
The VXR8 had Aussie spec traction control.
Yeah,
it would start to slide on a wet road or something when you didn't really want it to, and then while you were busy trying to sort it out, suddenly, like a little thing would come on the dash and go, "Oh, mate,
yeah,
you okay there?
Fair go, mate.
Do you want me to help you out?"
I want Mark.
Okay, look. I'll just. I'm just gonna wind back the power a little bit, and then sorry about that. I was just lying on the couch. You see, I didn't notice that you were having a massive tank slip. It was really, really laid back traction control. I quite liked it because once you know it's like that, you just go, well, I'm not going to rely on this in any way at all. So
no, I'm down.
It's fine.
I'm down with it.
We've actually talked about cars quite a lot this week. It's weird.
What, in this podcast?
And washing powder, obviously. Yeah.
We're going to have to. I think we do get pangs of
guilt,
of nervousness and guilt because we think this is people apparently listen to Smith and Sniff for car content, Yeah.
Well, anyway, quite carry this week, but don't worry, I'm sure next week we'll just end up talking about, I don't know, tomato soup or something for an entire hour. But for now, we should probably bring this one into the services so we can have a wee and a sandwich. Before we go, I have 3 things to tell you. They are: 1, Jonny has a solo YouTube channel called The Late Break Show, which has lots of excellent videos on it for your delight. 2, I've got various books out. One of them is called A Medium-Sized Book of Boring Car Trivia by Sniff Petrol, which is available exclusively on Amazon as an ebook or a paperback. And 3, All I Want to Do by Sheryl Crow is actually lyrically a poem by a man called Win Cooper called Fun, which she adapted.
Is that true?
To music. Yeah, Sheryl Crow didn't write the words to that. It was a poet
she name checks what Datsuns and Buicks, doesn't she? Car ones.
Yeah.
See, in the UK, you'd never have polished a brand new Datsun for fear of it dissolving.
Yeah.
But maybe in America that's okay in a hot state.
Yeah, I always imagined that song took place in California, so it's a dry state.
Would you rather have had a shiny Datsun or a shiny Buick, Rich? Just as a final question.
Well, it depends on the Datsun, doesn't it?
Well, what would it be? Yeah.
But if it was like a Laurel or something, I'd probably take my chances with the Buick. It might be a Skylark or a Vauxhall Riviera or something. You don't know. Be more specific, Sheryl Crow / Win Cooper.
I'm going to say I'd go Buick GNX and it would be like black glass.
Just a little side note then for songwriters: if you're going to name check car makes, could you put the model in, specifically the trim level if you're feeling really adventurous, because it would help us to visualise what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And on that valuable piece of advice, there have been several this show, I think, but that's an important one too. Thank you ever so much for listening. We will see you for more of this sort of thing on the other side of things next week. Until then, goodbye.
Goodbye. Did you just say see you on the other side of things?
I know, that was absolute dog shit. I don't know what I was saying.
Well, that you were trying to say.
I went down a words cul-de-sac.
I'll see you on the other side of things.
Yeah, to try and work a catchphrase in with it.